So if that's true, right, if that's true, we should be able to see a sign of that. Because on the end of every chromosome, there are things called telomeres. Yeah? So if you imagine your arm, let's say, it's a chromosome. Yeah? Let's try and demonstrate. So let's say my fists are the ends of my arm. Okay? So the end of the arm, my fists, now, and the chromosomes, they have ends, they're called telomeres. Okay? If they fuse together, where would the telomeres be? Would they be at the end or somewhere else?
If they fuse together, they should be in between, isn't it?
Exactly. They should be bang in the middle.
Right.
Now the centromeres that were in the middle, how many centromeres will I have? Like normally, each chromosome has one centromere. So if two fuse together, how many centromeres? And will they be in the middle? Because they were in the middle of the arm. They fuse together. Will at the middle of that fused chromosome, will the centromere be in the middle, the two centromeres?
They will still be in the same position.
Right. They won't be in the middle anymore because like, that's the middle of my arm.
Yeah, that's right.
And now I've got one thing fused together.
Yeah.
So I'll have one here and one here.
So they're going to be, you'll have one arm or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So if humans have a common ancestor with chimps, then here's what we would expect. We're going to scan through the genome and we're going to find there's a fused chimp chromosome in there.
Right.
And we can find that because there'll be telomeres in the middle that will line up with the two extra chimp chromosomes. Right. And there'll also be centromeres here and here. Okay? Guess what? It's exactly what we find.
Can I just say something to you?
Yeah.
That could be right.
Yeah.
Because there is a scientist who has done extensive studies on it, But what they found is, within the black race, that chromosome isn't there.
That's not true.
I'm just telling you what this person said.
Okay, but you shouldn't go with what one person says.
No, of course, you're right.
You have to go with what's in the proper high-impact journals. Okay? The fact that a scientist says something means nothing. What you have to do is go in what we call the high-impact journals, i.e. you have to get into the big journals like Nature and Science, and there are others, right? Each journal has what's called an impact factor. So the high-impact journals, they're the really ones that are taken seriously. Then you have to see, once you're in a journal like that, do other people replicate your findings, right? So for something like human and chimp common ancestry, when we look at the top scientific journals, they all agree. That's a fact.
Right.
Yeah? Right. Now, you can find some scientists who say anything crazy. There's all kinds of scientists are people, and they can also say crazy shit.
Exactly, and this is why half of them I don't believe.
No, but there's a way to find out which ones to take seriously, which ones do you not take seriously. Because you don't look at what the scientist says when he's being interviewed on some TV channel, what he writes in his book, right? You see what's in the high-impact journals, and you see what's been replicated by other scientists. If all the scientists, in consortiums agree, then you can trust it, okay? All right? If it's backed by lots of experiments, and lots of different scientists have replicated these experiments, then you can trust it, okay? So that's very strong evidence, that humans and chimps, humans did not evolve from chimps, they did not evolve from monkeys. They share a common ancestor with monkeys and with chimps. Just like I did not evolve from my cousin, but I am related to my cousin through common ancestry, i.e. we've got the same grandparents. So the idea is not that humans and chimps evolve from each other, it's that we share a common ancestor. We both evolved from that common ancestor. We went on different paths. So that's what evolution says, and the evidence for evolution is overwhelming. Like no one in serious science doubts it. And I could go on all day with different bits of evidence if you want.
And that's the thing. And what I'm going to do, I need to come down there a bit more equipped than I am, Especially when
you say equipped, what do you mean?
In terms of knowledge.
Knowledge. All right. So can I give you some recommended reading?
Yeah, go for it.
Here's a book I would recommend. The Relics of Eden, powerful evidence of human evolution of evolution in human DNA.
Right.
I'll show you the chromosome 2 fusion site. Okay. Here you go. So you can see. Hang on, let's find a better page. Okay. I would take this. So there's 2 chimp chromosomes. Okay.
Right.
And the human chromosome 2 looks like those 2 chromosomes are fused together. And we know that because the telomeres that are at the end of these 2 chromosomes are in the middle of the human chromosome.
Right.
Okay. So here we go. Matches telomeres at the end of chimp. So scientists see how we have a sequence of DNA from the site in the middle of human chromosome 2, and it matches the telomeres at the end of chimp chromosome 2A and 2B. They're kind of reveal which of the okay. In the region of DNA sequences, 158 copies of the tandem repeat around the telomeres. The telomeres of one chromosome fuse head to head with the telomeres. Okay. And they know the exact fusion site. They can even tell you exactly where it is in the DNA sequence. Yeah. And this is a really excellent book. So if you want to learn how we know that evolution is true, I would recommend this.
The name of the book again?
Okay. So if you want to read up,
I will.
yeah.
And I'll be back next week for you, mate.
Oh, I won't be here.
Part.
Sorry, I don't come that often.
No? Okay.
What's your take? You're a believer or a non-believer? Or?
Oh yeah, 100%. I believe in it. I'm a creationist, I should say.
You're a creationist.
Yeah.
Young Earth creationist or old Earth?
Young Earth, yeah.
You're a young Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what do you
Less than
say?
6,000 years.
So how is it that we're able to see stars that are billions of light years away? How can you explain that?
Earth, we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Those stars been there before Earth.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Right. So
But their
I'm only
light
talking
takes
about
time
Earth.
to get to us, doesn't it?
Right. Well, you see, that I don't believe. Because
Why not?
people say, that the sun is, what is it,
93 million miles away.
93 million miles
Yes.
away. And how far is the moon?
250,000 miles away.
That's a load of bollocks.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Why do you say that?
Well, I'll tell you what, right?
Have you heard of something called precession?
Precession?
Yeah.
No.
Well, this is how we measure distance to stars.
Right.
Okay? So if you're going to say you think it's bullshit, wouldn't it be a good idea to learn
Precession.
what the argument is to derive those distances if you're going to disbelieve it?
Okay.
Wouldn't that be a reasonable thing to do?
I haven't read books
You haven't read books.
on those type of stuff, yeah?
Okay.
But based on other people's research,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and through their explanation,
Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of it's come from, the flat Earth.
I'm familiar with the flat Earth.
Do you believe it's flat?
No.
Okay. Well, a lot of it's coming from people.
You think it is flat?
I'm 50-50. I believe they're.
Can I try and convince you that it's a globe?
Well, as above, so below. Yeah. So in a sense, the sun being round, the moon being round.
Well, round doesn't contradict flat because the disc is round and it's also flat. Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
round is not the issue, is
Okay.
it?
Yeah.
Right? So if the world was flat,
Yeah.
right, why is it that when you go to Australia, the moon is upside down? How do you explain that?
The moon is upside down.
Yeah. Like if you take a picture of the moon in
Yeah.
the southern hemisphere,
Yeah.
you take a picture of the moon in the northern hemisphere,
Yeah.
the southern hemisphere moon is flipped vertically, right? Now, look at the aurora borealis. You have the aurora australis in the southern hemisphere. They're the same. Now, the moon is a distant object. The aurora borealis is within the atmosphere. Okay, it's only 100,000 feet up, not 250,000 miles away.
Yeah.
Now, if the Earth is a globe, we make a prediction. There are magnetic fields that go round the poles. So there will be a north pole and a south pole. Okay? The aurora borealis is channeled down the field lines. So it'll make a ring around the poles. Yeah? So here's our prediction. If the world is a globe, the moon will be upside down, but the aurora borealis will look the same. Because they're being channeled down these two opposite field lines. Guess what? That's exactly what we see. So that's evidence that the world is a globe. How can you explain that if it isn't?
Well, it's a globe.
Yeah.
What they reckon is it's flat and it has like a globe
dome.
top,
All right.
dome top.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then how is it that the moon is upside down in Australia. Because think about it, if it's a disc, so imagine it's a disc with a dome. Okay, where's the moon in this picture?
So the moon, everything's in the dome.
Okay, so the moon is in the dome.
Yeah.
So if let's say we're here,
so
we're
Australia's
here,
there and we're up here
Australia's
somewhere.
here, right? We're up, but the Earth is flat. There is no up.
No, because you've got a cover in it now.
No, but okay, if it's flat, okay, here's us, and here's Australia. Okay.
Because you're looking at you're looking at it as a flat plane, aren't you?
Yeah.
Suppose you've got
isn't that the claim of a flat Earth?
No. Because you might have country here, all the way around.
How can it be all the way around if it's flat?
It's flat with a dome cover.
Okay, I appreciate that. There's a dome on top.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So
I haven't studied this yet, but I'm just
clearly you haven't. Right.
I'm just putting into,
Right. But why are you taking this ludicrous hypothesis seriously?
Because the reason being is what you said there with Australia.
Yeah.
That's good, right? I can't argue with it.
Good.
But I've seen equally convincing arguments from the other side. And one of them being, and this is coming from a guy who used to be in the Royal Air Force, but the American, thing, yeah?
The United States Air Force is called.
Right, okay. Now, he's jumped from, parachutes.
So have I.
Thousands of miles, yeah?
No, he hasn't, because nobody has.
Anyway, I'm just telling you what he said.
Well,
yeah?
what he said. If he said that, then he's a liar.
All right, maybe not thousands, hundreds then, yeah?
Hundreds of miles.
Yeah, up in the sky.
There's only. Well, that's not true.
Okay,
Because
how far up can you go then?
Okay, I'll tell you how far. The highest, when people jump from aeroplanes, if he was in the Air Force, right? Most parachute jumps are from an altitude of between 10 and 15,000 feet normally. That's 2 miles. 2 miles. Okay, that's when most parachute jumps are made. Okay, there is very rare occasion. Now there are people called halo jumpers that jump from quite high altitudes, 25 to 30,000 feet. That's 5 miles. Okay, 25,000 feet is about 5 miles. Okay, that's about as high as parachuting generally goes. There was one person that made a jump from 100,000 feet in 1960. 100,000 feet is about 20 miles. Okay? So there was the Red Bull guy that broke that record. It was a couple of years ago. Jumped from 120,000 feet.
Right.
And that's one guy. One guy has broken that record.
Right.
He was an executive with Google. So 2 people have ever jumped from, above. There's something called the Armstrong line, which is at 60,000 feet. That's where you can start to see the curvature of the Earth. About below 60,000 feet, you can't really see it.
You can't see it.
Okay, you need to go high to see it.
Right.
The only person there's only ever been 3 people who have ever jumped from higher than 60,000 feet, and they all saw the curvature of the Earth.
They all saw it, yeah?
There's only been 3 people who've ever done that. I know that because I'm an experienced skydiver, so I follow these things quite closely.
So when you jump from where you jump, you can't see the curvature.
No, because it's too
flat,
low.
Yeah?
It's too low.
Okay.
You're going from 10 to 50. So if anyone says they can infer a flat Earth from what they saw parachuting, they're a liar. Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is, I'm not going to argue with that. To be quite honest, I do believe...
There's a video of the guy jumping from 120,000 feet. You want to see it?
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll show it to you. It was live streamed to everyone. Yeah, you can see the curvature quite easily. Yeah? How is it every single astronaut says they can see the curvature? You can go on live stream videos from the International Space Station. Right? They all show it. I'll show you the video.
Let this man sit there. I need something. My arms get tired.
No, but that's pretty good. I like that. You got a little mic on there. You got a mic on there?
It's a stabilizer and it's live stream. But
There you go. There's a video of him jumping from 120,000 feet. Yeah, you see his curve.
That's him getting out of the capsule or whatever.
Well, he's about to get out of the capsule. Anyway.
Yeah.
Have you seen the one?
There, look. It's curved, isn't it?
Yeah. Have you seen the one with the rocket? They sent a rocket up.
One with a rocket. There's been a lot of rockets sent up.
Okay, well, this particular one,
Yeah.
they put a GoPro camera on it.
Right.
They sent the rocket up. It got to as far as it could go,
Yeah.
and it just stopped.
Right.
Have you seen that?
But what would that prove?
That nobody's been to space.
Why would it prove that?
Because
Maybe
you
that
can only
rocket-
go so far up.
Maybe that rocket ran out of fuel. It's a
Yeah.
different rocket. Like you've seen fireworks, right?
Yeah.
How high do you think fireworks are? Not very high, right?
Yeah,
Let's agree.
Yeah.
Why do they not go very high?
Because not enough fuel to take them.
Right.
Yeah.
So not all rockets stop because they can't go further.
Okay,
It's
but
because they don't have enough fuel, or maybe because their stabilisation is not
stuck.
good enough.
It got stuck up there.
It got stuck.
No, seriously, you literally.
How can you say
you gotta
that
watch it. You gotta watch
seriously?
it.
Right,
You
it
gotta
got
watch
stuck. What did it get stuck in exactly?
Well, I can't answer that. You know, where the camera was positioned, yeah. Well, you know, it was spinning when it's going up, yeah. It's going up, and then it just got stuck.
It got stuck.
Won't go any further.
Well, maybe. And then what happened to it?
It got stuck.
It's
It's
got
probably
stuck.
still up there.
It's still up there.
It could be.
Have you tried throwing things up? Do you know what happens to them?
They come down, gravity,
Yeah.
right?
Do you not
Right.
believe in gravity
Do
either?
you believe that people went to moon?
Yeah, of course I do.
Okay, so answer this then, because this is one that flat Earth talk about, right? Is there oxygen up there?
On the moon,
Yeah.
virtually none, I would have thought.
Well, virtually none, or so that means that you're implying there could be a little bit.
Maybe there could be a little bit. Yeah.
Well, if there's a
In
little bit of
space,
oxygen,
there are chemical molecules, right? Where do you think oxygen comes from? From stars. So there is oxygen in space, but it's very
There's-
diffuse, very, very diffuse. There wouldn't be any.
So
there wouldn't be any
is
oxygen.
there wind
in-
up there?
No wind, no.
Okay, so why was the American flag blowing?
Easy,
How?
because they were holding on to it.
No, it wasn't being held onto.
Yes, it was. Show me a
no,
video.
It was stuck
Show
in the ground.
me a video. No, they were stuck in the ground, and when you see the flag moving,
Yeah.
right, it's because they're moving it. Show me a video of
was
it moving
no
with them
one
out
was near
touching.
it.
You're
no
wrong.
one was near it.
You're wrong.
Bring-
Show me a video. Show me a video from NASA of that flag waving without anyone touching it. You show it to me. You can't. You watch those videos of the flag moving, it's because they're moving it. And the flag will move in a vacuum easily as long as you move it.
Here's a better question.
I'm gonna
prove that
find
we
it.
landed on the moon for you? Because I also looked into conspiracy. At one point I thought, maybe they are. And I asked myself, what would convince me? And I said to myself, if we could photograph the landers that they blasted off and those are still on the moon, and we get photographs, we landed on the moon. What do you know? We've had the saline, I think it's a saline.
No, it's
What's the
there was the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter.
That's the one.
Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter just took pictures of the landers there.
all the landers?
Right? Now, if you think that they fake that, just think of how many people have to be in on a conspiracy. Right? When they built the lunar rockets, do you know how they did it? They did it in a... No, NASA didn't build the rockets.
Right.
They used subcontractors.
Right.
So Boeing built the engines. Grumman built the lander. Different companies built different components. Okay? Now think about it. Those companies think there's two possibilities. Either the companies involved were in on it, or they weren't. Right? Maybe NASA was doing the faking and the companies right, were building the components that would work.
Yeah.
If it was building the components that would work, well then it's going to work. Because each company is building something that
they specialise in.
right, that works. And they're going to sign off, yes, this is going to work. Right? Now, if they're in on it, there's a conspiracy. And now, why would you have all these other companies in on it? You want to keep it quiet, don't you? You want to keep it quiet.
No. Hold up a minute.
It doesn't make sense
Your
what you're
iPhone.
thinking.
Well, my iPhone, right?
Yeah.
For instance, the glass
Yeah.
is made by Samsung.
Okay.
Yeah. And different parts of the
Yes.
internal
Yes.
made by different
Yes.
companies,
Yes, yes,
different
yes,
countries.
yes,
But they don't share in the profits or the name or the brand of iPhone, of Apple. Once it's bought from you, mate. Listen, if you grow rice, and I've got a restaurant,
Yes.
and I've got a famous restaurant, just because I bought the rice from you, do I have to tell anybody else that I bought it from you?
I think you're missing the point.
Yeah.
The point is this: if you were going to fake it, you want as less people in on the secret as possible.
No, but they could still be in.
No. Think about it. If in order for them to be, so what you're saying is,
I know what you're saying,
right? That the Boeing and Grumman, do you think they were in on it or not in on it?
They probably weren't in on it.
Okay, so if they weren't in on it, they had to build those rockets so that they would work. So why would NASA fake it if all the components work?
Right. So all it is.
If they work, why not just go to the moon?
Let me tell you something. If you're building a rocket, and you know, let's say Honda makes really good engines, Now, you know, I'm going to you and I'm saying, look, you know, can you build me a engine that has the capacity to do this and that and blah blah blah? Yeah. Once you say yes, you don't need to know what I need it for.
Right, but it's got to have that capacity.
Right.
Because if Boeing knows that the rocket can't get to the moon, right, then more people are in on the secret. Better to keep it quiet. So, from your thinking, Boeing think that the rocket can get to the moon. They've built it, right? Grumman think that the lander can land on the moon, right? Or MIT built the computer systems, so they think their computer systems can work on the moon, right? So all of these companies are basically building something that's going to work, according to them, right? So if all the component companies think it's going to work, isn't the most reasonable assumption that's going to work?
No.
Why not?
Because there's been many inventions that's been created. That's been created that hasn't worked. So it's no guarantee. Just because you
but when it doesn't work, people know that it doesn't work. Right? If
they
you
didn't
built an aeroplane...
They didn't know it wasn't going to work when they were building it, else they wouldn't have built it. Or they would have corrected.
But they can see the results of their tests, can't they?
Yeah.
If you build a camcorder and it doesn't work, you can tell that it doesn't work.
Of course, because it bloody didn't work.
Okay. Yeah. Right, let me ask you another question, right? Why do you think the Americans went to the moon?
Why do I think they went to the moon?
Or say they went to the moon?
Probably to try and get some sort of satellite navigation up there, maybe?
No, that's not the reason.
Okay, what's the reason?
The reason is very clear. Every historian agrees with it. Because they were in a Cold War rivalry with the Soviet Union.
Right.
Okay? So they were in a race, space race it was called. The Russians, right, launched a man into space. Yeah? They were rivals. They hated each other. Communism versus capitalism. Complete rivals. Now, according to you, they're both lying.
Right? Russia and America.
Yeah. Now, if the Americans faked landing on the moon, the Russians had satellites, they had radars, they could tell. Right? The British also had a famous radar station. Radar station. It's a telescope, radio telescope, called Jodrell Bank. Okay. Now they tracked the spacecraft landing on the moon. Yeah. And their data showed that it landed on the moon. And in fact, not only that, there was when Neil Armstrong landed on the moon with Buzz Aldrin, the story goes that they got their path wrong. So they were going to land in the boulder field. So Neil Armstrong switched the spacecraft to manual, and he flew over the boulder field and he landed in a clear spot. Okay? Now that has a certain radar signature. You can tell whether that's happening or not because the spacecraft is travelling like this and then it's going like this. So there's a certain radar signature. And you could tell. If they were lying, you could tell because the radar signature is doing that rather than it should be doing that. Yeah? Right. So Jodrell Bank tracked it on their radar and they showed exactly matched what Neil Armstrong said was happening. Right. The Russians also tracked it. And they agreed that the Americans landed on the moon. These are their Cold War rivals, these are their enemies. They're in a race for propaganda who could get to the moon first. And when the Americans landed on the moon, the Russians accepted the Americans landed on the moon. They would have had the radar data that could tell them this was fake. They could have exposed the Americans as faking it easily, but they never did. So, if you believe it's a conspiracy, you've got to believe But NASA all back then are in on the conspiracy, but NASA now are in on the conspiracy, which are going to be completely different people because this is like 50 years later, so it's not even the same people. So all the people that have worked for NASA for decades have all got to be in on the conspiracy.
Yeah,
the Russians have to be in on the conspiracy.
You're right.
All the astronomers have to be in on the conspiracy.
Most of the Western countries are in on it. I'll tell you
and
why,
the Russians as well.
Yes, because listen, but
You're
listen.
nuts.
No,
I can only
listen,
tell
listen.
you, you're nuts.
The same time they claim to have gone to the moon,
Yeah.
was the same time they all signed a treaty so that nobody could go into Alaska. Yeah?
No one can go into Alaska.
No one's allowed to fly over or go into Alaska.
No, they didn't. That's not true. That's false.
Google it.
You believe anything you read on Google, do you?
No, but it's true.
Do you not think there's
Has anybody gone to Alaska?
Yes.
Who?
I know people that went there on holiday last year.
No, not
You
Alaska.
could go-
Not Alaska, sorry, Antarctica.
Yes.
Sorry, Antarctica.
Yes, lots of people have been to Antarctica.
Who?
Where do you think Bicep 2 telescope is based?
Ah, I said people, not equipment.
Who do you think put the telescope there?
Yeah, authorised people, but you can't jump on a plane and say you want a holiday to go on then.
We're going to
I'll tell
Antarctica
you what.
on our holidays.
Sorry?
We're going to Antarctica on our holidays.
Who, you?
Yeah, me and my wife.
Yeah?
You can buy a ticket now if you want, and you can go to Antarctica.
Right. Show me.
Sure. Go, check.
Show me.